So, good morning, students. Am I audible? I repeat, am I audible? Okay, good. So, let's start this session. So, in our last class, we have discussed about HDLC, right? So, in our last class, we have discussed about one of the major protocol that is implemented in data link layer. That is nothing but HDLC, high definition data link layer protocol. Now, here, this HDLC, as we discussed in our last class, has two modes. Okay, so can anyone tell me what are those two modes that HDLC will be working? What are the two modes that HDLC will work? Anyone? So one is normal response mode and another one is asynchronous balance mode. So in these two modes, the HDLC will be working. So whereas NRM can be used in both multi-point as well as point to point, whereas asynchronous balance mode is only suitable for point to point. Okay. So that's the background of HDLC. Now in this particular class, we are going to discuss about PPP. PPP stands for point to point links. Okay, point to point protocol. So this point to point protocol is only suitable for point to point communications. That means there will be only two systems communicating with one another, sharing the communication medium. There will be no more system sharing the communication medium. Okay, when there are only two systems, one system will be sender, the other system will be receiver. Okay, when there is only one sender and one receiver, there is no need to think about this traffic control, because obviously no one else is going to share your medium. That means when there is only two systems, there is no need to worry about especially medium control, medium access control. Okay, so here PPP is designed for point to point link, so it is not going to implement some mechanisms related, some functionalities of data link layer which are not that much needed for point to point links. Okay, so in this particular class we are going to discuss about point to point protocol PPP's framing, then the different phases the protocol goes through when there is a communication, that is the transition phases, then the protocols, the sub protocols that are used by PPP for different purpose. So the protocols are LCP and PAP, CHAP and NCP. So these three sets of protocol, these four sets of protocols that we are going to discuss in this particular class. Okay, so first let's see the background of the point to point protocol. So point to point protocols are mainly used in our current internet. Okay, so it is as you can see, if you have a broadband connection in your home, normally nowadays your broadband connection will be just a plug and play connection. That means if you just connect a LAN cable from your let's say BSNL modem to your computer, normally you will get the internet. But in previous days, that means if you go back like 5 years, if you want an internet connection, you need to connect your computer or laptop to the modem that is provided by the BSNL, and you need to open an application and you need to enter some number and you need to click on dial button. Then only you will get a internet connection. So what happens there is, when you click on the dial button, it will establish a point-to-point link with the BSNL server. Okay. Nowadays, that process becomes the process has made automation. Okay, that means whenever you connect your computer, immediately it will establish a point-to-point link with the BSNL server. So your communication will go through that point-to-point link. Okay, so in the current days, millions of internet users uses this point-to-point protocol, PPP protocol, and the protocol is byte-oriented protocol. So can anyone recollect and tell me what type of protocol is HDLC? So here PPP is byte-oriented protocol. What about HDLC? HDLC is byte-oriented or bit-oriented? We have discussed that in the last class. HDLC is bit-oriented protocol or byte-oriented protocol. I got one answer saying bit-oriented and one answer saying byte-oriented. So what about the others? C. Yeah. So I got some responses saying that HDLC is bit-oriented. Right. It is right. So HDLC is bit-oriented protocol, whereas PPP is byte-oriented protocol. So there is no that much difference, and it is not that much important also. But what you need to remember is HDLC is bit-oriented protocol. That means HDLC uses bit stuffing. Okay, so to avoid getting the pattern, the flat pattern in the original frame, HDLC uses bit stuffing. Since PPP is a byte-oriented protocol, to avoid getting, see, you can't avoid the actually the flag pattern. So what you are going to do is you are going to go with byte stuffing. That means you will place one escape byte before the flag byte in your frame. So like your regular programming languages, whenever you want that double quote or single quote within your message, you are going to place one escape character, that is the backslash. Whenever you want the escape character in your actual string itself, you are going to put additional backslash. That means the backslash becomes your escape character. In the same way, in our communication, whenever your frame itself contains the flag pattern, you are going to place one additional character called escape character here also. That is the reason why it is why we are mentioning that PPP is a byte oriented protocol. So to get the idea that what mechanisms the PPP is going to use whenever the flag pattern is there in the actual frame. Okay, so these are the main two things. Then coming to the services provided by the PPP. So the PPP is a protocol which defines what is the frame format that you are going to use. That means what are the fields that you are going to send along with the network layer data. See, PPP is a data link layer protocol. So data link layer will get data from the network layer and it is going to send the data by constructing the frame. That means it is going to construct the frame and it is going to deliver the frame to the physical layer. That is what we learned in stop and wait, select to repeat, go back and all these things. Okay, so you are going to get the data from the network layer. You are going to construct a frame. You are going to give that frame to the physical layer. That means indirectly you are going to send the frame. Okay, now PPP gives you few steps that you need to remember while constructing a frame. That means how exactly the frame must be constructed. That means what are the fields to be placed in the frame along with the network layer data. మనం లాస్ట్ క్లాసెస్ లో డిస్కస్ చేసుకున్న ప్రోటోకాల్స్ లో మీరు గుర్తు తెచ్చుకుంటే, if you recollect those things, you will remember along with network layer data we only concentrated on adding sequence numbers and acknowledgement numbers. Apart from those two, where we have not added any additional parameters. In go back and protocol, in select to repeat protocol, in stop and wait protocol, you will get the data from the network layer. You will place sequence number. If it is a bidirectional protocol, if you place acknowledgement number, that is the only additional things. But in real world communication, those two are not enough. You know, you need few more parameters. If you go back to HDLC, in HDLC we have iframes. Okay, iframe, I stands for information. So information frame carries network data. So along with network data, we have control field, okay, and we have address field, and we have frame check sequence field, and we have flag field. Okay, so these are all the additional things. This control field carries sequence number and acknowledgement number. This address field carries for whom the information is intended for. And this FCS carries the error control related information. And this flag information is used for identifying the beginning and ending of frame. In the same way, the PPP tells you what fields you need to place in PPP frame and where you need to place those fields. Okay, and it also defines how to negotiate data link layer related parameters between two systems. So that means, for example, if you take this particular class, so students and faculties are negotiating certain things before starting the class. Okay, so actually here the negotiations are completely faculty centric. That means how much time you need to, oh, I mean, we need to conduct the class. That means now we are having a class of 60 minutes and what to discuss within the class. Okay, and what to have at the end of the class. That means what type of assessment we need to have at the end of the class. That means a quiz of 5 bits. So these are the negotiation steps. In the same way, in a communication, the two communicating devices will be having a negotiation. The negotiation is related to I mean, how the initial communication can be happen, how much data in each communication can be sent. Okay, you can't send infinite amount of data. You can't send a complete 1 GB movie in a single frame. You need to divide the movie into a smaller frames and you need to send them. So how much size you are going to use in your frames, and whether you are going to provide security or not for that frame. So all these things are decided during this negotiation phase. So the PPP protocol defines how two devices can negotiate to establish a link between those two devices. Okay, and as I said, during the negotiation, it also provides authentication, but it is optional. That is up to you. Okay, if it is very sensitive information and if you want to make sure that no one else will understand your information, obviously you are going to choose this security. Okay, and if it is not that much sensitive information, you just need, if you just want to exchange the information, but that information can be seen to other, can be visible to others also, then you, there is no need to provide security. So these things are optional. So PPP provides optional security measures. Okay, so these are the three things that the PPP is going to provide. The three services are how exactly the frame is designed and how the negotiations are done at the beginning, and during the negotiation whether you need to provide security or not, and if you need security, how exactly you are going to provide the security. So these things are provided by the PPP protocol. And PPP compared to HDLC is not providing some mechanism, some services. So what are those services? So PPP not provides flow control. Okay, and PPP not provides error control. Okay, so if a frame is corrupted, it is discarded. Okay, so here you are not going to worry about error control. So and it is also not providing address mechanisms. Just think, if there is only two people communicating, two people sharing the medium, if one person is sending something, obviously it is intended for the second person. There is no need for address mechanism. Yes or no? ఒక రూమ్ లో ఇద్దరే ఉంటే మళ్ళీ ఆ ఇద్దరికి నేమ్స్ పెట్టి మాట్లాడుకోవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉందమ్మా. అదే ఒక రూమ్ లో ఒక 10 మంది ఉన్నారు. లెట్స్ సే ఇన్ ఏ క్లాస్, ద క్లాస్ ఈస్ హ్యావింగ్ 60 people. Now if your faculty wants to ask a specific question to a specific student, the faculty need to mention the name of the student followed by the question. Then only the particular student will respond. Yes or no? So there the address is needed. The address is nothing but the name of the student. If only one student is there in that room, just imagine. Is there any need to mention the student name in the beginning of the question? Think and respond in the chat box. If there is only one faculty and one student in a room, if the faculty wants to ask a question to that particular student, is there any need to mention the name of the student before asking the question? So obviously not. Okay. So the point to point communication is something like that. If you take a regular classroom where there will be on average like 50 students, the faculty wants to ask a question to a specific student, can he ask the question without the name of the student? So he needs to mention the name now, because there are multiple people sharing that medium. Medium, there is nothing but air. ఓకే, మన నార్మల్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ మనం యూజ్ చేసే మీడియం ఏంటి అంటే ఎయిర్ అమ్మ. సో నేను మాట్లాడేది ఏదైనా మీకు వినిపిస్తుంది అంటే హూ విల్ క్యారీ దట్ I mean those vibrations means nothing but the air will carry the vibrations generated by my vocal cord to your ears. So that air is shared by all the people within that room. That means the medium is shared by all the people within that room. So obviously there is a need for address. So the address is nothing but the person name. So in the same way here, since our protocol is designed for only point to point communication, there is no need for addressing mechanisms. That is the reason the PPP is not provides any sophisticated address mechanisms. Okay. And second thing, error control and sequence numbering. See, you can't say that there will be no errors, but you can say that compared to a shared medium, in a dedicated medium, there is very less chances of getting errors. If there is a very less chances of getting errors, there is no need to check for errors in every stage. So above data link layer, there is a network layer. Above network layer, there is a transport layer. Transport layer also provides error control and flow control in higher level. When there is another protocol which will take care of error control and flow control, what is the need for doing the same things which happens very less often? సో ఎర్రర్స్ చాలా తక్కువ సార్లు వస్తాయని తెలిసినప్పుడు ఎందుకమ్మా మనం మళ్ళీ చెక్ చేయడం డేటా లింక్ లేయర్ లేదు. దట్ ఈస్ ద రీజన్ వై దిస్ పిపిపి అవాయిడ్స్ ప్రొవైడింగ్ ఎర్రర్ కంట్రోల్. And it also not provides flow control, because when there is only two persons, obviously they are going to negotiate in the beginning itself how to communicate, with how much speed they want to communicate. Then again there is no need to worry about flow control. That is the reason the PPP protocol is not providing any of these three services. So it is not providing flow control, it is not providing error control, it is not providing address mechanism. You will only choose PPP if there is no need for these three. If you want these three, you can't use PPP, you need to go with HDLC protocols. Okay. So is it clear with this particular slide? Guys, respond in the chat box. Is it clear with this particular slide? Do you want me to explain any specific point again? I repeat, respond in the chat box. Is it clear or not? Okay, good. So since you got the picture of how the PPP is working, let's see the technical specification. That means nothing but the frame format and the protocols, the sub protocols in PPP. So this is the frame format of PPP. So the frame format is common for all the sub protocols. So here, if you look carefully, this PPP frame format is similar to HDLC. Okay, because in internet, in a regular network, you don't know whether the person is going to use HDLC or PPP. So if the beginning of the protocol is similar, then only he will know, then only he can immediately switch between HDLC and PPP. So up to this particular point, it will be same. Okay, so the flag pattern is same pattern, 0 followed by 6 ones followed by 0, and the address will be same. Okay, but since there is only two people, as I said, there is no need for address. So what you are going to do is the address field always carries all ones, 8 ones. Okay, so the address field always carries 8 ones because there is no need for address. ఓకే, సో మరి ఇంకెందుకు సార్ ఈ అడ్రస్ ఫీల్డ్ ప్లేస్ చేయడం అనుకున్నాం అనుకోండి. ఒకవేళ మీరు ఈ అడ్రస్ ఫీల్డ్ తీసేస్తే ఈ అడ్రస్ ఫీల్డ్ ప్లేస్ లోకి కంట్రోల్ ఫీల్డ్ వస్తుందన్న. నౌ ఇఫ్ the purpose of this control field here is to tell whether this frame is HDLC frame or PPP frame. So ఈ control field PPP అని ఎప్పుడు ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తుంది అంటే if the control field is this one. So the control field carries 6 zeros followed by double one, then you can say this frame is a PPP frame. If the control field carries any other pattern, this frame is not PPP frame, it is a HDLC frame. So ఇక్కడ మరి కంట్రోల్ ఫీల్డ్ ఈ ప్లేస్ లోనే ఉండాలి అంటే దీని ముందు అడ్రస్ ఫీల్డ్ ఉండాల్సిందే మనకి. So then only the control field will be the third byte. If there is no address field, the control field will be in the second byte position for PPP frame. So which will be completely compromising the similarity. Okay, so to get the similarity between HDLC and PPP until this particular point, what they are doing is they are using the same fields. The first field is flag, which is having the same pattern, but now the flag is considered as a single byte instead of considered as 8 individual bits, followed by an address byte which carries all ones, followed by a control byte which carries 6 zeros followed by double one. That means the byte is nothing but 3. It carries a number 3 in its position. So based on this control field, you will see, okay, since it is 3, you will say it is PPP. After this, there is a protocol field. Okay, so this protocol field will identify whether the frame is PAP frame or CHAP frame or NCP frame. So I said there are so many sub protocols. So which sub protocol is used for constructing this part? So that is given here, the protocol field. So the protocol field can be 1 byte or 2 byte. And payload. So this payload will be will be the network layer data. So network layer data will be placed here, and frame control sequence. So here the frame control sequence is again an optional field which will be used for either to see whether the frame is corrupted or not. It is not going to provide error correction. It is going to provide an optional error detection, and followed by a flag. And this payload also carries, along with network data, it also carries authentication information if you are having authentication. Okay, I said there is optional security. So if you are providing security, if based on the protocol, it may carry authentication information also, something like password and phone number. Explain this. So password, it will carry password. Okay, so as I said, the first field is 0 followed by 6 ones followed by 0, that is the flag. The second field is address, that is all ones. The third field is control, which is nothing but 6 zeros followed by double one, which will say that okay, this is a PPP protocol. And the fourth field is used for identifying which protocol is exactly it is using. And the sixth field is payload field. The payload field carries the actual information related to the protocol that is implemented here. And the last field is frame check sequence, which is used for error detection purpose. Okay, so that is the main frame form. Okay, now this is the PPP transition phases. That means in the beginning the PPP will not be there. That means you can assume that the PPP protocol is in dead state. Okay, now as a user, if you want to establish a PPP connection, you will first go with carrier detection. If there is a carrier free that is not used by the other person, I said it is used for point-to-point communication. So A and B. So if A wants to establish a PPP connection, first it will see whether the medium is used by B or not. If the medium is not used by B, that means if the medium is free, when it senses the medium, if the carrier is detected, it is available, then it will call the method establish. So the establish will go through certain steps and it will go to this network state. That means it will carry the information. So during establishment, you may choose optionally provided service, that is authentication. If you want authentication, it will go through another phase called authenticate. If you succeed in entering the correct password, then only you will go to this network phase. Okay, so ఇక్కడ మీరు ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాల్సింది ఏంటి అంటే, if you have not chosen the authentication phase, then after establishment you will directly go to network state without security. If you choose authentication, you will go to authentication, and with security you will go to network. Okay, so if the authentication is successful or you have not chosen the authentication, the establishment is done, then you will exchange information. Okay, so you will exchange the network layer configurations, all those things. Okay, then you will say the PPP is open for communication. So you will exchange network layer data. Once you are done with exchanging network layer data, you will terminate the connection. That means you will release all the resources that you are allocated, that you have been allocated to this particular protocol. Okay, that means terminate. Once you are done with termination, the carrier will be dropped so that the other person can use the PPP. That means you are going back to that state. Okay, again if you want PPP connection, you will again start. So ఇప్పుడు పొరపాటున మీరు ఎక్కడైనా అథెంటికేషన్ లో ఫెయిల్ అయ్యారనుకోండి, you will immediately go to termination. So you won't be allowed to exchange information. So it is something like if you open a website, Gmail, so if you enter wrong password, it will close the connection. Again you need to open the page, again you need to enter the correct password. If you again fail to enter the correct password, again you will be terminated. Okay, so that is what is happening in this PPP transmission phase. Okay, so as I said previously, the PPP provides PPP, even though it is a data link layer protocol, it depends on 3 types of sub protocols. So the 3 sub protocols are link control protocol, which is shortly called as LCP, and 2 authentication protocols that are optional protocols, CHAP and PAP. Okay, and the third set of protocols is several network control protocols, that is shortly called as NCPs. So these NCPs carries network layer related information. Okay, so as I said previously again, so in this particular frame, depending on which protocol you choose, the network layer, the payload field carries that information. Okay, it may carry network layer related information, it may carry the authentication related information, it may carry the actual data coming from the network layer, or it may even carry network the session establishment, the negotiation related information, depending on which protocol you choose. Okay, so you can choose in the beginning, normally in the beginning of the communication you will start with LCP. And see in our last diagram, so here in establishment stage you will call LCP, in authentication phase you will call CHAP or PAP, in network in this network phase you will call NCPs, and after this open and before this termination you will use data packets, which is part of NCPs. Okay, So this is why we need these many set of sub protocols. So prati protocol individual ga work avudamma, prati protocol part of the entire communication. So you will start negotiations with LCPs. You will exchange authentication information with either CHAP or PAP, and you will exchange network related information and data by using network control protocols, that is NCPs. Okay. So depending on which protocol you are using, the protocol field will carry these values. సో ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఒక ఫ్రేమ్ వచ్చింది, ఆ ఫ్రేమ్ స్టార్టింగ్ ఫ్లాగ్ 0 ఫాలోడ్ బై 6 1 ఫాలోడ్ బై 0 ఉంటుంది. అడ్రస్ వచ్చేసి ఆల్ 1s ఉంటుంది. కంట్రోల్ ఫీల్డ్ వచ్చేసి 6 zeros ఫాలోడ్ బై 11 ఉంటుంది. అండ్ ఇఫ్ ప్రోటోకాల్ క్యారీస్ C021 value, C021 is hexadecimal value, so the equivalents of C021, the corresponding pattern is there, that means it is a LCP packet. If it is carrying C023, then you can say it is one of the authentication protocol. If it is carrying 8021, that means it is an NCP packet. If it is carrying 0021, then it is carrying data information. Okay, so this is how you will see which type of frame it is. So it is a PPP LCP frame, or it is a PPP AP frame, or it is a PPP NCP frame, or it is a PPP data frame. So like that, based on this control field and protocol field, you will identify which frame it is. Okay, so let's discuss about this LCP. So as I said, this LCP is responsible for establishing, maintaining, configuring and terminating it. So negotiation దగ్గర స్టార్ట్ అవుతుందమ్మా. సో నెగోషియేషన్స్ అంతా అయిపోయి మీరు డిసైడ్ చేసేసుకున్నారు, ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేసేసారు, అండ్ ఎట్ ద ఎండ్ టెర్మినేట్ చేయాలని, లేదా ఇన్ బిట్వీన్ యూ వాంట్ టు modify some configuration. So whatever the case it is, you are going to use the LCP packets. So it is the LCP packet payload is these things. It contains some code followed by identification tag followed by the length of this information variable. Okay, so ikkada manaki nenu cheppinattu LCP ante ikkada meeku unde value enti ante C021. Okay, and the payload, as I said, it carries code, ID, length information. So what is the meaning of these values? So code means there are so many different codes. If it is 01, it is the first packet. So then normally the first frame carries 01 because you are requesting for specific configuration. Okay, so మీరు ఏ అమ్మా, you want to communicate with B, so you will send a list of options in through which you want to communicate with him. Okay, so he will respond with those options. If he is not able to accept all those options, he will respond with this NAC configuration NAC pack frame. So he will send a LCP frame with 03 information. Okay, whenever you receive such information, that means we rejected your proposal. Okay, if he sends 04, that means he completely rejects, that means he is not capable of establishing your connection. మీకు 03 వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, that means he is not accepting those options. You can change the options and you can retrain, he may accept, but if he rejects means there is no other option for you. Okay, so if within the connection or at the end of your communication, if you want to terminate, you will send this termination request using LCP. Okay, if the other person is also done with the communication, he will send an acknowledgement saying that okay, let's terminate. Okay, so like that, there are so many other frames which are used for different other purposes. So the main important things that you need to at least write in the exams are the first 6: configure request, configure acknowledgement, configure NAC, configure reject, terminate request, terminate acknowledgement. So you need to remember these 6. Okay, and coming to ID, so the ID field holds a value that matches the request with a reply. So ikkada endante మీరు ఒక రిక్వెస్ట్ పంపించారు, మా రిక్వెస్ట్ లో 10 అని ఐడి యూజ్ చేశారు అనుకోండి, ద కరస్పాండింగ్ రెస్పాన్స్ ఆల్సో క్యారీస్ ద సేమ్ ఐడి. Okay, so the purpose of these things are to overcome any duplicate packets or some echo packets. Sometimes what happens is the frame that you send now may reach to the destination, the other person, after some time, after some delay. So to avoid any confusion, what you are going to do is you are going to place IDs. So if you put, the sender put 100 in a specific request, the receiver must respond with the same ID and the corresponding response. So if the request lo 10 100 అని పెట్టారు అనుకోండి, corresponding ACK లో కానీ NAC లో కానీ 100 అనే reply రావాలి. Then only you will accept that reply. Okay. So the length field defines the length of the entire LCP packet. So the length of the entire LCP packet LCP packet means the code ID length followed the information. So this information is the variable length field. So ఈ వేరియబుల్ లెంత్ ఫీల్డ్ ఎంత అనేది ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా మనం చెప్పేది ఏంటి అంటే ఈ లెంత్ ఫీల్డ్. ఓకే, సో the options. So here in the first code I said you will be proposing a list of options. So what are those options? So the options are something like, what is the maximum payload size? So normally by default it is set to 1500. And what is the authentication protocol that you want to use? By default it is set to none. That means you are not using any authentication because it is an optional one. If you want, you can send the corresponding authentication. And what is the protocol field compression that you are going to use? Normally there will be no compression. If you want, you can choose the corresponding compression. And whether you want to compress the address and control field or not. That means normally, as I said, there is no need for address and control fields in PPP. But why we are using those things means to avoid confusion between HDLC and PPP. So once you are done with establishing PPP, in the further communications you can avoid sending those address and control fields. So here you can choose on option instead of off. So these are the default values for these options. Okay, so is it clear with this slide? LCP, is it clear with this LCP? Okay, now let's see the authentication protocols. So authentication means validating the identity of users. So normally మీరు ఒక జీమెయిల్ అకౌంట్ కి లాగిన్ అవుతున్నారంటే ఆ అకౌంట్ మీదే అని చెప్పడానికి మీ దగ్గర ఉన్న ప్రూఫ్ ఏంటమ్మా? సో యువర్ ఈమెయిల్ ఐడి ఈజ్ నౌన్ టు ఎవ్రీవన్, బట్ what is the information that is only known to you? So password. So the password is the secret information. So you are going to send your password. In the same way, in PPP authentication, you are going to exchange some information to show your identity. So for providing authentication, there is two types of protocol. One is, as I said, the password authentication protocol, which is nothing but PAP. So PAP stands for password authentication protocol. So the user will exchange passwords. So other thing is CHAP. So CHAP stands for challenge handshake authentication protocol. So compared to PAP, CHAP is more sophisticated. సో ఇప్పుడు మీరు పాస్వర్డ్ పంపిస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇంకెవరైనా చూసారు అనుకోండి, దే కెన్ యూజ్ యువర్ పాస్వర్డ్ అండ్ దే కెన్ ప్రిటెండ్ లైక్ యూ. So instead of password, if you can have better option, you will go with that option, obviously. So the other option is this CHAP option. So to understand this CHAP, you need to understand so many concepts which are not part of our regular things. So I am not going to explain in depth about these PAPs and CHAPs, but you will know these things in your next semesters. Okay, so let's go start with the PAP. So the PAP protocol, the protocol field carries C023 and the payload can be these three. So it can be authentication request and it can be authentication ACK or it can be authentication NAC. So మీరు correct password పంపించారు అనుకోండి, along with the username, if you send the correct password, it will respond with the authentication acknowledgement with code equal to 2. Code 1 తో మీరు రిక్వెస్ట్ పంపించారమ్మా, కోడ్ 2 తో మీకు ఒక రిప్లై వచ్చింది అంటే ఫర్ కరస్పాండింగ్ యూజర్ నేమ్, దట్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ యాక్సెప్టెడ్ ద పాస్వర్డ్. ఇఫ్ యూ గెట్ code 3 with the corresponding username, that means whatever password you entered, the system rejected the password. That means the other system rejected the password, means you entered the wrong password. Okay, so this is a very simple two-step authentication process. So why I am saying two steps? You are having two steps here. First step is sending your username and password. Second step is getting an acknowledgement or getting a next, that is nothing but rejection. So there is only two steps in this particular process. So the payload carries these informations depending on whether it is an authentication request or authentication response, that means ACK or NAK packet. Okay, so a user who wants to access a system sends an authentication identification and a password. So the system checks the validity of the identification and the password, and based on the whether it is matching in the database or not, it will either accept or denies the connection. So that is about the TAP. So coming to CHAP, CHAP is a three-way handshake authentication protocol. It is two-way, only two steps. This is a three-way handshake. So what happens here is, as I said, you are not going to actually send the password. మీరు పాస్వర్డ్ పంపిస్తే ఆ పాస్వర్డ్, ఆ ఫ్రేమ్ వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా హ్యాకర్ ఇంటెన్షనల్ గా ఆ పాస్వర్డ్ ని యాక్సెస్ చేస్తే, హీ కెన్ యూజ్ యువర్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఇన్ ద ఫ్యూచర్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ సేయింగ్ దట్ హీ ఈజ్ యూ. దట్ మీన్స్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ద ఫ్యాకల్టీ ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్, సే యు ఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ ఐడి కార్డ్స్. సో నార్మల్ గా the picture on the ID card is not that much clear. So if your friend carries your ID card to some place and if he shows that ID card, the people that are there in that particular place will believe that the person is you, so because he is pretending as you with your identification information. So PPP is that having that particular drawback. So the password is visible to everyone. That means anyone can access the password and they can use it and they can pretend like you. So to avoid that, this CHAP avoids sending the password. So what it is going to do is, it is going to keep the password secret. So my password secret ga unte, password పంపించకపోతే మరి ఎలా జరుగుతుంది authentication? So it is having these steps. So what is the steps? So first, what happens is, whenever you access a server using PPP, using CHAP, first the server will send you one challenging packet. So indirectly ఏంటంటే ఒక సెక్యూరిటీ కీ పంపిస్తున్నాం. It will send a secure key, and remember that the mechanism or the key is something like that. Even though the key is visible to everyone, they can't use it. Okay, only the server can use it. Okay, so he will send a key. What you are going to do is, you are going to apply that key on your username and password, and you are going to lock your username and password within an virtual box. సో ఇప్పుడు ఆ బాక్స్ లో ఉన్న కంటెంట్ బయటకు కనిపించదమ్మా. మీ యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ మీరు డైరెక్ట్ గా పంపించట్లేదు, వాటిని ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసి పంపిస్తున్నారు. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మీరు మీ యూజర్ నేమ్ పాస్వర్డ్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసి పంపిస్తున్నారో, ఆ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవరికి కనిపించదు. మరి ఆ సర్వర్ పంపించిన కీ ఉంది కదా, అది అందరికీ తెలుసు కదా, అది యూజ్ చేసి అన్లాక్ చేయొచ్చు అంటే చేయలేదు. ద కీ ఈజ్ ఓన్లీ యూజ్డ్ ఫర్ లాక్. ఫర్ అన్లాకింగ్ ద సర్వర్ విల్ యూజ్ అనదర్. సో దట్ కీ ఈజ్ ఓన్లీ నోన్ టు సర్వర్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతుంది? So server has two keys, K1 and K2. So server sends K1 to you. So this is handshake packet 1. Okay, so you receive K1. So using K1, you locked your username and password. So now this username and password is not visible to outside world. So you are going to send this information to the server. Okay, now server got K1, username and password encrypted with K. So what he is going to do is, as I said, you can't see this information unless you have this K. So using this K2, the server will decrypt the information and it will see the username and password. and it will verify whether the username and password is matching or not. If it is matching, then it will send a response. That is the reason why it is called three-way handshake mechanism. So is it clear now? అర్థమైందమ్మా ఇక్కడ ఏం జరుగుతుందో? I think someone raised their hand. So here, instead of this encryption process, you can't say encryption process. Okay, so for your understanding, I said that. So what happens exactly is this challenge value and function. So here, as I said, the system sends the user a challenge packet containing challenge value. Okay, so the user applied a predefined function using this challenge value. So the predefined function can be an encryption function or an authentication function. So there are so many different functions that you are going to learn in the coming semesters in subject like cyber security or cryptography and network security. Okay, so there are so many functions. So the function is going to use that challenge value and your password value to generate a secret information. So that is nothing but this locked information. So you are going to send that information. The system, the server is going to do the same operation. So ఏంటంటే మీ రిజిస్ట్రేషన్ జరిగేటప్పుడు ఆల్రెడీ ఆ సిస్టమ్ డేటాబేస్ లో యూ అండ్ పి ఉంటుంది కదా, యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు అప్లై ద సేమ్ ఛాలెంజ్ వాల్యూ అండ్ సేమ్ ఫంక్షన్ అండ్ యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు డిక్రిప్షన్ జరగదు, ఇక్కడ మీకు ఇందాక చెప్పినట్టు డిక్రిప్షన్ జరగదు. సో ఇక్కడ వాడి దగ్గర ఉన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేసి మీరు పంపించిన ఎన్క్రిప్షన్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ని వాడి దగ్గర ఉన్న ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఎన్క్రిప్ట్ చేస్తే వచ్చిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ని కంపేర్ చేస్తారు. సో ఇఫ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఈస్ సేమ్, దెన్ ఓన్లీ దోస్ టూ విల్ బి సేమ్. So if password is same, challenge value is same, username is same, then those two will match. That means the system will accept. If they are not matching, that means something is wrong. Username wrong ayi undochu, password wrong ayi undochu, challenge value normal ga wrong undadu, endukante server adi pampistundi kabatti server knows which challenge value it sends to you. And inkoka advantage enti ante ippudu meer oka authentication packet పంపించారని, hacker stored that authentication, and if he wants to use the authentication in the future, that authentication packet he can't use, because in the future when a new request is sent by the hacker to the server will send a new challenge value. ఎప్పుడైతే challenge value మారిపోతుందో ఈ ఎన్క్రిప్టెడ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ కూడా మారిపోతుంది. పాస్వర్డ్ మారినా, ఛాలెంజ్ వాల్యూ మారినా ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ మారిపోతుంది. ఇప్పుడు పాస్వర్డ్ మారకపోయినా ఛాలెంజ్ వాల్యూ ఎప్పుడైతే మారుతుందో ఆబ్వియస్లీ ద హ్యాకర్ కాంట్ సెండ్ ద ప్రీవియస్లీ హ్యావింగ్ డూప్లికేట్ కాపీ. ఓకే, ప్రీవియస్లీ జనరేటెడ్ డూప్లికేట్ కాపీ. సో హీ విల్ ఫెయిల్ దేర్. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఈస్ హౌ దిస్ చాప్ ఈస్ ప్రొవైడింగ్ సెక్యూరిటీ more efficiently compared to password based authentication protocol. Okay, so that is about this CHAP protocol. Okay, and this is the CHAP frame format. So here, as you can see, first the server will send a challenge packet. Okay, so the challenge value, so you will calculate a response using your password and received challenge. So ఇక్కడ password challenge అనేది యూనిక్ గా ఒకే ఇన్స్టెన్స్ కే ఉంటుందన్నమాట. The challenge will be changing continuously from systems to systems and attempt to attempt. సో ఇప్పుడు మీకు వచ్చిన ఛాలెంజ్ ఫ్యూచర్ లో మళ్ళీ మీరు అటెంప్ట్ చేస్తే రాదు. ఓకే, సో you will have a challenge and you know your password, you are going to generate a response. So the response will go to server will generate the same response using the password that is stored in the system and the same challenge value. ఇప్పుడు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి అమ్మా, మీ పాస్వర్డ్ ఉంటుంది సిస్టమ్ సర్వర్ దగ్గర, మీ దగ్గర మీ పాస్వర్డ్ ఉంటుంది. ఇప్పుడు సర్వర్ C1 అనే ఒక ఛాలెంజ్ పంపిస్తుంది, ఈ ఛాలెంజ్ ని పాస్వర్డ్ ని యూజ్ చేసి మీరు ఒక అవుట్పుట్ జనరేట్ చేశారు. దట్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ద రెస్పాన్స్ కమ్స్ టు ద సర్వర్ అండ్ సర్వర్ ఆల్సో జనరేట్స్ ద సేమ్ రెస్పాన్స్ యూజింగ్ ద సేమ్ ఫంక్షన్ ఇన్ ఇట్స్ సిస్టమ్. సో ఇది రిసీవ్ చేసుకున్న రెస్పాన్స్ అండ్ సర్వర్ ఒక రెస్పాన్స్ జనరేట్ చేస్తుంది. ఈ రెండు కంపేర్ చేస్తుంది. ఇఫ్ దోస్ టూ ఆర్ సేమ్ ఇట్ విల్ సెండ్ సక్సెస్. If those two are not same, it will send a failure. So that is about the Chapman. So is it clear? Respond in the chat box. Is it clear? Guys, respond. Okay, good. Okay, so coming to the last one, NCP. Yeah, so coming to NCP packets, so the NCP packets carries 8021 in the NCP field. Okay, and these NCP packets can be different, so depending on which network layer protocol you are using. So in network layer we have IP packets, ICMP packets, IGMP packets. So in network layer we have different protocols. So which protocol related information it is, so based on that it will carry the corresponding packet. So if your network layer is using IP protocol, you are going to send IPCP frame. So IPCP frame carries code, ID, length and IPCP information. Okay, so here these NCP packets does not actually carries the network layer data. It only carries the configuration related information. So the configuration related information means, see, so on the sender side you will get the data from the network layer and you are going to divide the data depending on your negotiation. So network layer నుంచి వచ్చే డేటా మీ నెగోషియేషన్స్ కన్నా బాగా ఎక్కువ ఉండొచ్చు. అప్పుడు మీరు ఏం చేస్తారు, you are going to divide it. So how you are dividing and how the receiving side data link layer need to assemble them. So such information will be carried here in this NCP. So this mainly carries the configuration information of the network layer so that the receiver side will know what to do with the received information, received data. So దీని తర్వాత డేటా వెళ్తుందన్న ఆ డేటాకి ఇక్కడ మనకి 0021 వాల్యూ అర్థమైందా. సో దట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ దిస్ NCP. దెర్ ఈస్ నో నీడ్ టు లెర్న్ మోర్ అబౌట్ దిస్ NCP. సో ద టూ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్స్ ఇన్ PPP is either in your exams you may ask to write about, explain about the complete PPP protocol, or they may ask you to explain the authentication protocols, especially CHAP and PAP. So they may ask you to differentiate between PAP and CHAP. Okay, so those two are very important compared to the others. So the most important concepts in PPP is PAP and CHAP, followed by LCP, and lastly NCP. NCP will not be asked separately. So you may ask to explain the complete PPP protocol where you need to explain this NCP also. Okay, so that is the end of this particular unit. So if you recollect what we discussed in the unit, we have started with what are the different data link layer services. Okay, so we said it is going to provide framing, flow control, error control, etc. And we also discussed what are the design issues the designer, the network, the data link layer designer need to take care when he designs protocols for the data link layer. And we discussed about various error control mechanisms, error detection and correction mechanisms. Okay, so error detection were used for what you can say more error prone channels, less error prone channels, and error correction is used for more error prone channels. And coming to medium access control, so within the syllabus we have discussed about Aloha protocols and CSMA protocols, where these two are part of random access protocols. And along with these three, we also discussed the controlled access and channelization protocols also, which are not actually part of our syllabus. And after that we moved to the elementary data link protocols, where we discussed about simplex protocols and stop and wait protocols. So these two are for noiseless channels, and simplex not even provides flow control. And after that, we discussed these three protocols for noisy channels: stop and wait, automatic repeat request ARQ, go back and ARQ, selective repeat ARQ. So after these protocols, we have discussed about HDLC protocol, and now in this particular class, we have discussed about PGP protocol. So that is the completely about this particular unit login. And I'm going to stop here, and the quiz will be enabled by 5 p.m. And on Saturday, I'm going to enable another quiz on the complete third unit for a like 20 bits. Okay, so like we had a cumulative quiz on the first unit and second unit. For the third unit also, I'm going to enable a cumulative quiz at the by Saturday. So you will have the complete Sunday to attempt that quiz. So I am going to consider that quiz also for assignment. Okay, so that is the end of today's class. So if you have any queries, you can ask.